Hey there folks, Derek, Leica 101 here, page of many things, and it's time we did a DM's Tips video. It's been a long time coming. It's been quite a while since our last DM's Tip video, and I realized I was doing these when I was just providing general advice, and that it's something that I wish people had told me when I was DMing, so I divulge this knowledge to you. Today we're going to talk about the one thing that I think all DMs should have the ability to do, and in my opinion is the greatest skill that a DM has in his or her repertoire, and that is improvisation. Improv, by far, is a skill that you should have. I know at times I feel I don't have the best skill at it, but my players always tell me, and they give me a great compliment in saying that Derek can run a game by the seat of his pants. He can pull out anything and make it good. I've literally, the last campaign, or the last mission that I just did, a little one-shot game that may turn into multiple adventures, I ran the night before I was heading home from the end of the semester at school. And literally a couple of people, of my friends, came up to me and they were like, hey, what are you doing? Are you doing anything before you're heading out tomorrow? And I said, no, I'm all packed. What do you want me to do? And they're like, would you want to run a game of D&D? We've never played. Do you think you could do it? And literally, they asked me this at dinner, so it's like 5 o'clock. And I said, sure, meet me at 6, and I'll come up with something. So literally, they came to me an hour later, and we played until about 11:30, and I just made something up right on the spot. Sure, you can say I had an hour to plan, but I, just used that time to pull out some of my resources that I had, some printout sheets and get dice together and stuff because most of my gaming supplies were packed. So improv comes in handy in these situations, and you just go with the flow. The reason I'm doing this tips video is I want people to understand that you can plan as much as you want. You can lay out every detail of a campaign months, years in advance. And you have this finely scripted story that you want to have for your players. But the moment you sit down and start playing the game, your players are going to find a way to derail you. They're going to come up with some crazy situation that you had not intended and twist things around that you've created and try to take them to their advantage. So let's say there's a rope dangling down, and the bad guy is trying to scale up the rope to get away inside a dungeon or something, and your options you thought were, oh hey, the guy's escaping. The players are most likely either A, chase him, or B, cut the ladder. Well, what if it's you get to the table and it's secret option C? The players light the rope on fire, and the flame spreads so quick that the bad guy fleeing has two options: one, stay lit on fire, or B, let go and fall down X amount of feet, taking X amount of damage back right into the party's lap. And you had originally intended this guy to get away and come back later. What do you do? Improv. You got to come up with it on the spot. Or players are going to be really interested in a specific character that you wrote a one-line blurb about. And it's literally just some guy or girl that you just toss into the story to give that last little bit of information that they might have missed, but they want to know more. Or they might misinterpret some random thing in the background to be really important, and then in order to make your setting believable, your mission believable, that person has a whole life. Now you have to quickly come up with it on the spot. Or they want to know that random bar wench's name, and you're like, oh crap, I didn't think they'd ask her name. What is it? Improv. Make it up on the spot. Come up with something. I know most people think that they can't improv, but everybody can improv. It's simple. Just shout out the first thing that comes to your head. If I said, I walk into a room, and then you follow it with something else. I walk into a room and you tell me what happens. It's literally that. And if you want to practice improvisation, you just get a couple people together and then you do an improv chain. And it's literally what I was just doing. And saying, you set up an example. I have a sword and I swing it at, and then the next person says what you swing it at. And then the next person goes on and says something else. And you just keep going and you develop this story. And you just come up with it on the spot. Oftentimes it's these stories that make the best moments. So everybody can improv. Everybody can do it. It just takes practice. Like every other good skill a DM has, it takes practice. So at first you'll think your improv sucks and that, they're going to see through you and they know you're making, part of the phrase, but they know you're making shit up and it's just not going to go over well. I guarantee you that you're going to get to a point, and it could happen right off the bat, where your players are never going to know that you're BSing, that you're making things up on the spot as you're improvising. Generally, you have this whole story set up, right? But the people on the other side of the screen don't know anything about it, except for what happened last session. They don't see the overarching story. They don't know the big picture. They don't know all the people in the world. So, when you choose to flesh out a character or a place or anything on the spot, they think that, wow, damn, you know your stuff. You just came up, you just know, that's incredible. And they think you've planned it out a long time in advance. And then, in order to keep things, what's the word, believable, I guess you could say, is you just write it down on a sheet of paper after you said it. And then it just helps with the believability of the world. Even though you made it up on the spot in this moment, it'll come back later, or could come back up later, and now you know. Improv is your greatest skill. So I want to encourage all DMs to practice your improv and your improv skills. And don't be afraid to use improv. Even if you think it's going to suck, 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you it's going to go over well. Players are never going to know, and if you choose to tell them at the end of a session, I've done this before, run an entire session, and then at the end of the night, before everybody leaves, ask them, say, guys, I did some improving tonight, and I just had to make a few things up on the spot because of situations that you guys, arose through you guys' actions. Can you tell me which situations those were, or which situations you think those were? Excuse me. Most players are not going to know. The really good players that are perceptive enough to know will tell you, and then they'll say, I knew because of this or this kind of situation, or in your demeanor or mannerisms change slightly. And then that's constructive criticisms that you can take and then make your improving better. So this is about an 8-minute video. I've been rambling on about improv, and I really want to encourage all DMs to use their improv skills. So don't be afraid to do it. You're good at it, even if you think you're not. Trust me, it works, and it is the greatest skill you have as a DM hidden in your back pocket to use at any time. So don't be afraid to use it. Get out there and do it. And if you need practice, just practice. Like all good skills, it comes with time and practice. So this has been Derek, Leica 101, a quick DMs tip video, just rambling on about improv and the use of it in gaming. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next DMs tips video.